going on, people? That's out there out here in Singapore, and I'm so glad to be back on here because I've had a chance to think about the last podcast episode I dropped, and I was thinking about what else I could actually tell you and teach you through this podcast itself. And it hit me. I don't think I've actually sat down and explained my process when it comes to teaching people how to heal from pain. Maybe it's recent pain, maybe it's old pain, but this is something that is, it's almost like a linking spell, right? It's something that actually brings all of your trauma together one full circle. And I hope it works for you because this is the way I process things. So here goes. Whenever I get into a situation where there is some kind of a calamity, something that happened, that upset me to the point that I can't stop thinking about it, I have this habit of going back and thinking about, okay, well, when else in my life has this happened? It may not be the exact circumstances, obviously. It's going to be different people and different, timeline or whatever, but it may be the same feeling that I'm feeling again. So let's say the last time I felt jealous of something, right? When I look back right now, let's see, there have been a couple of instances where I feel jealous, where I feel like, oh my gosh, this person is beautiful and they're dressed well and they're doing really well in the acting arena. They're in the media all the time. Wow, I wish I could be like them. And yes, it's a comparison and I have no right to compare myself to anybody, but there are moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, if I just had this and if I just had that, I would feel better about myself. But that's my own insecurity talking. So when I feel jealous like that, I have to really think about, okay, well, what is it that I'm actually saying here? Is this person better than I am? Possibly in some arenas and possibly not. Is this person does this person have an ability that I don't already have? And if they do, is that a learnable something, or is that something that's innate? If it's a skill set that they have that makes them so great, is it something that I could adopt myself? Is this something that I really can't attain? Because when I think about being jealous of somebody, it's almost like they're over there, they're so far away, there's no way I could ever reach this person that I feel like I supposedly am competition with, right? And I had to go back and think about, wow, okay, when else has this happened? This has happened so many times in romantic relationships. I've been in situations where my ex-husband would talk about his exes and how great they were and how, this person called and that person, showed up for him. And every time I would look at their physical being, because I don't know anything else about them. I don't know anything about their character. So I would look at their physical being and I would suddenly be like, wow, okay, their breasts are bigger than mine, their ass is bigger than mine, they look a certain way, they have a different skin texture, their hair is different, the way they carry themselves is different. And I would think about all those things and be like, yo, I'm not any one of those things, how could I possibly compete? And so I would start feeling small and insignificant, and it was something I was doing to myself because I was comparing. This happened with my first ex-boyfriend as well, and he would talk about how he was in love with Janet Jackson, and let's think about this. I don't look nothing like Janet Jackson. It's Janet Jackson, people, okay? And so I was looking at this standard that I was trying to reach, and there was nothing about this person that I could even compare myself to, but I did it anyway, and I ended up feeling small and insignificant again, and those ideas in my head let my insecurities creep up, and suddenly here I was doing things that were out of my character, saying things that were out of my character because I wanted so badly to impress this person and keep them around. So, you see what I'm getting at? Something in my present that caused drama for me, that caused chaos for me, had me in a space that I was not comfortable with and I did not feel good about. And so the first thing I did was go back on purpose and think about other times in my life where this has happened, to prove to myself that some of this pain that I'm suddenly feeling is actually inflicted by myself. I am causing myself to feel smaller than I actually am. I'm causing myself to feel less of a person than I actually am because I'm comparing myself to somebody I can't compare myself to. I can't compare myself to anybody. There is not a single being on this planet that I can compare myself to because their circumstances are different, their chemical makeup is different, their physical makeup is different, everything is different. There's nothing I compare myself to, okay? But I was doing it anyway. So here's what I did next. Once I went back and saw that, hey, I've done this before, I've survived it before, it didn't feel good the same as it doesn't feel good right now, but what am I doing about it? Sometimes noticing that I'm doing a patterned type of behavior allows me to realize that, hey, okay, this is something I'm doing to myself. That means I can disrupt it. If I'm in charge of the movie that's playing, if it's like reloading and reloading, if it's stuck on a specific scene, I'm in charge, which means I can stop the movie and refresh the page or choose a different movie entirely. I'm in charge. Same thing with my thoughts. I have to be able to stop them. I have to be able to disrupt them somehow so I can rewrite the narrative. I can stop telling myself that I'm small and focus on the things that I can control instead. So when it comes to jealousy, right, I have to understand what it is that I actually want. At the bottom level, like once everything's boiled down, what I actually wanted was the attention of the person that I was in front of. Whether it was my ex-fiance or my ex-husband, I wanted their attention. And when they talked about this person is so great and that person is so great, I immediately thought that what I had to offer was not good enough. And so I tried to emulate what the other person was or happened to seem like because of what my significant other was talking about, right? But eventually what I realized was I can't be any of those things. I'm not built that way. And so now, today, what I'm doing is I notice that I'm in a bad feeling. I go back to all of the similar situations in my past that I've had that same bad feeling, and I realize, hey, you know what? I'm in control. I can't disrupt it. Once I disrupt it, though, my process at that point is to remind myself that there is no one else like me. To remind myself that if these people actually really want to be around me, right, they'll find an excuse, any excuse, to be around me. Which means I can't pretend to be anyone else. I have to be myself. And to be myself, I have to be proud of who I am. I have to be happy with the person that I am at the moment, which means I need to go back through that list of accomplishments that I have. Just to geek myself up, because I don't have cheerleaders outside of me, right? It's me. I gotta be my own cheerleader. So I gotta remind myself, hey, you accomplished all of this before you met this person. You accomplished, gosh, I did my master's by myself while I was on a job. I was the dorm director for 108 girls while I did my master's and did an internship with a human resources facility that was attached to a retirement community. I wrote their OSHA handbook and I didn't know anything about OSHA. If I fast forward to the present, and if I'm worried about, why someone isn't interested in me and they're interested in somebody else instead, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing on the face of the earth that I can do to turn their attention except to be me, if that's what they're looking for. And if that's not what they're looking for, there's no reason to be chasing anybody, right? And remind me, I'm going to come back to that too. We need to talk about chasing, y'all. So I have to disrupt the thought. I have to remind myself that I am worthy, that I am good all by myself. And there is a reason this person came to me in the first place. And if they stick around, that's on them. It's not about me. I can't make anyone come or go. I can't make my daughter love me. I can't make my daughter love me. She came from me. I built her from my body. I brought her from that dimension into this. I've raised her. I've been with her every step of the way. There's nothing I can do to make her like me. Nothing. And if I can't do that for my own daughter, damn straight I can't do that for any other Tom, Dick, or Harry around here either. I can't. There's nothing I can do. Either they want to be around or they don't. And if they don't, hey, that's on them. It's not on me. To be able to bring myself to that state of being, that state of mind, takes a lot of work. It didn't happen overnight. And I had to remind myself that. It's not like I call my best friend. They're like, oh my God, don't you know who you are? You're bad. Nah, I don't have a best friend. I don't have any close friends for that matter. I talk to my brother every once in a while, but I can't go running to him every chance I get either. At some point, I had to realize I had to do this for myself. I have to be my own best friend. I have to be my own cheerleader because I'm already my number one enemy when I'm in a bad mood. So for those of you who are wondering, well, shit, I'm in this funk. I don't know how to get out of it. And yeah, this person isn't running around behind me like I want them to. And so maybe I should bend over backwards some more. Maybe I should give some more. And maybe, I should spend more money or make their life even more comfortable. Nope. It's not going to help if that's not what they're looking for in the first place. If I can't make my own daughter love me, and think about this, you guys, look at your parents, right? Nothing they could do could make you love them. They had to at some point put their foot down. They had to at some point tell you off. They had to at some point correct your behavior. You didn't like them for it, but at some point later on down the road, you respected them for it because you realize, okay, without that, I wouldn't be here right now. So the realization that I am plenty, the realization that I have accomplished a lot in my life, the realization that I can control my daughter, as dumb as that sounds, reminds me that no matter what I do, people are going to do what they do. I can't force them. I can't make it easy for them to love me. They just gotta want to love me. Just like I love people because I want to, right? That means no strings attached, no conditions. That also means that I can love you and you might not love me back, and that's okay because that's my choice. And if I'm affected by the fact that you don't love me, that means that's a condition. I have a condition on there. And that's not what I'm claiming, is it? Which means I gotta check myself and I gotta put myself back in place and be like, yo, you wanna love this person, then you love this person. And if they love you back, great. And if they don't, whatever. You did what you wanted to do. You did what was in your heart to do. And that's good enough. So, I don't know if this will help everybody. I don't know if this makes sense to somebody. I don't know if this may send you on a loop because you're going back to the past to see what else, feels like this right now. But the reason I'm asking you to go back in the past is because all of these things are linked. This feeling is linked. It started with the very first time you felt jealous about something. And you know what? If I were to dig far enough, I'm pretty sure it started with my parents. Being compared to somebody outside of the family. It's always a cousin that's doing better or, a sibling that's doing better. And when you're starting to be compared with that, suddenly you feel like, okay, well, I can only be good or loved if I'm like this. It's a story you tell yourself. They're comparing for a specific reason, obviously. But nowhere in there are they telling you that you need to change your entire being. Just maybe pick up a couple of habits that you haven't mastered yet or good habits that you haven't placed yet. But that's not what we tell ourselves, right? The minute someone compares ourselves to somebody else, we're like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. And that's a big I. That's a very all-encompassing I. And I need you guys to stop doing that. So, the reason I say everything is linked is because it starts from that very first time that you were compared to something and you felt that jealous feeling. And from then onwards, whatever you told yourself in that first instance is something you probably tell yourself every time you feel jealous, which is why I want you to disrupt all of that. Once you find that link, that thread that ties all of these things together, and you learn to disrupt the thought and you learn to pivot and change in a different direction, and you learn that, you know what, I know how to bring myself out of this spiral. You heal all of those linked memories. And that's why I want you to link them together. I hope this makes sense. I hope this gives you something to try that might be different from everything you've tried before now. Because I believe you deserve peace. Over everything else, you deserve peace. And that's the only thing I want to teach. How to get to peace. How to find peace. In the midst of chaos, how do you find peace? All right, you guys, I'll catch you again soon.